Hello everyone, Fishbone here. Wuthering Waves is gonna come out in 2 days, and today I would like to talk about the havoc that the vocal minority of Genshin Impact players can bring to Wuthering Waves. You might be thinking, can some mentally ill, likely overweight, anime profile picture having ass, minor loving ass, person really make any impact on the game when they can't even positively impact their own lives? Genshin players have an extensive history of being extremely out of touch with reality. I mean, to start with, look at some of these Twitter users. Like, you cannot tell me Yulan's boob mole and Yai Miko's side boob is a real functioning member of society. And I'm gonna be honest, if they are, then our generation is genuinely doomed. And if you keep on looking on Twitter, there's like a billion of these users that have, I am a Scaramouche haver. I love Scaramouche. Scaramouche is my only character that I genuinely love, and I love them. Now, I'm not saying that liking a character that much is wrong, but as to many things in life, if you are on one side of the extreme, it is generally a bad point to be at. Being overly positive is just as bad as being overly negative about something, because at some point, you're gonna become so far onto your extreme that you're gonna become unreasonable and way too biased to even take in any criticism about your point of affection. To add on to the insanity of Genshin players, they somehow had a special niche community of tryhards theory crafting every single damage number in game. And I don't know if you know, but they had this like super gigantic freaking equation to calculate the damage, including all the resistances and defense shreds, in a game with no end game whatsoever. And of course, there are elitist communities in any gacha games that love to min-max and are usually ignored by the majority of community. Like, imagine just sweating buckets in what even the devs called a casual game with no endgame. And now once these freaking Genshin troglodytes finally release their 4-year-long edge streak of no endgame into a game, with actual late game content, they'll absolutely go ballistic, foaming at their mouths as they say, I actually cleared the strongest endgame boss in just 11.5 seconds, and I beat the boss with just Yinlin and one hand because I was cranking it while playing, and let's just say, I almost lost in both in-game and IRL. And possibly create an elitist community that is above anything we have ever seen in the gacha space. If you kept up with the recent Hoyoverse drama, you might already have an inkling of what this part of the video is going to talk about. The Hoyoverse contracts are some of the most greedy and unreasonable contracts seen to date. Apart from the low pay rates and over-the-top level of control, something that really bugs me is this. The content creator shall promptly notify Yomiholik, which is the advertising agency affiliated with Hoyoverse, if any other gaming brand intends to sponsor their content. Yomiholik has full discretion to reject sponsorship that could be detrimental to Zenless Zone Zero or content creators' reputation. So what that basically means is that Hoyoverse is able to reject any monetary incentive that a big content creator might have covering Wuthering Waves. And you might be thinking that, well, they can still cover Wuthering Waves and make money off of the YouTube videos. But the thing is, because detrimental is such a broad term that can be tied off to anything, especially after the release of Wuthering Waves video and popularity drops somehow by whatever statistic, they can still face repercussions. In addition to that contract being leaked, a lot of major Genshin creators went radio silent, and the gacha community presumed that they're not going to cover Wuthering Waves. However, only a couple of days ago, they likely got the permission from Hoyoverse to play Wuthering Waves, and they posted it on their Twitter. So these creators that glaze Genshin Impact as if their life depended on it are now starting to play and cover Wuthering Waves. Although they were on a contract that basically forced them to talk positively about the game, or else they'd get cut from the contract. I think that this contract, paired up with Hoyoverse being very scared of Wuthering Waves stealing their audience, might result in content creators involuntarily insult, slander, and nitpick on Wuthering Waves. But that's just a theory. I gotcha theory. That's so cringe. Now, a short point to finish off the video. Kuro Games actually listen to their player base and attempt in their best way to fix the game. Some of the examples are the min and max rolls on echoes. Basically, before the fix, every single echo substat had a low low, low high, mid, low high low, high high roll. And as you might know, it is super cancer to grind relics already, and when you implement that level of randomness into your substance, it's just going to be an absolute pain to grind. And another thing that they fixed was the combat feedback, especially when you do the counter hit. A lot of players were saying that it wasn't very satisfying. I can't really speak on it because I never played the game in its beta. And also another thing I can't really talk about is the sound effects. I thought the sound effects sounded fine when I was watching the gameplay footage, but apparently some of the sound effects, like the swords hitting and just general walking sounds, didn't really make sense, and they also fixed that. And I think the biggest thing that Kuro Games fixed about Wuthering Waves, that probably everyone knows who's interested in Wuthering Waves, is the story. So, in its first beta test, many players were dissatisfied with the story. And what did the Kuro Games do? They changed 90% of it. By the way, that requires animators, voice actors, script writers, and directors to completely change and scrap whatever they had before and make a new story. So I think that's a very big commitment that Kuro Games did, and I think that's very admirable, and it shows how much they care about the community. But here's a downside. Because Genshin players are very, very retarded, and they hate Wuthering Waves. Or at least a very vocal minority hates Wuthering Waves. So in the case of Google Classroom, as you might know, they will proceed to constantly negatively review the game, especially after they realize that their Genshin's upcoming endgame content is dogshit. This may lead to Kuro Games to pay less attention to their players because haters are always the loudest. Did that make sense? Thank you everyone for watching this video. This is my first video ever, and I'm just very excited to start creating content for Wuthering Waves. It's been kind of my dream to start content creating, like, from a very long time ago, but I was just never able to set my foot in it. So big thanks to the Big T man, who shall not be named because he's the boogeyman of the gacha space community. After watching his video with Vegeta yapping and him reacting, I was just very inspired to start making content for this game. And feel free to tell me what was wrong in the comments with the script or the video in general. You can be very hard on me. I can take it. I also want to take it because I want to make the best videos I possibly can. And yeah, that's about it. Peace.